Hello and welcome. This video is all about the MCM Comic Con in London. What a show that was. Everybody that dressed up in cosplay, you looked outstanding. Now, Lego or no show, which was fantastic. However, this video of a highlight reel, basically the whole con, we do hunt down some Lego and we do find some minifigures as well. And it was an honour to meet so many amazing people, Dan Who and all the Dan Who crew that took me under their wing. Thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate that. Now, I had a fantastic time at the con, so what this video is going to be all about, it's all going to be about different booths and, like I said, different toy reveals as well. You've got the main booths that we're going to have a look at within this video. You've got the Pulse booth and lots of other different bits and pieces as well. And then when we walk to the other side, because it is a really big building where we go to the game side and all the comics and all that kind of thing as well, that'd be much quicker pace walking around because it was just very busy in pockets. But we do have a look at as much as we possibly can. So if you have stumbled across this video basically by mistake because the title's caught your eye, hopefully you enjoyed this recap of the 2023 Comic Con in London. So we're going to start the video with a bit of bonus footage. Now, this is actually the second time I've uploaded this video. The first time I messed it up, so we're doing it again, and it has allowed me to add in some bits and pieces that I forgot to add in, which is what we are looking at now. So this is all of the reveals from the Pulse booth, all via Hasbro and Marvel, and it's just incredible to see how they do it, and then they get them in here, and now all of these are available to order and probably pre-order and buy right now from their website. So what this is going to be, it's going to be a short highlight reel of basically what is to come. There's stalls and stands absolutely everywhere. Like I said in the actual intro, the cosplay of everybody was fantastic. Now, if you have already watched the video, from the introduction piece, everything is exactly the same. All I've done is just sort out the audio issues that I've had. So if you've already watched this video once, thank you. If you can like this video again, that'd be absolutely fantastic because it would help the algorithm, but don't worry if you can't. Now, we are seeing some little bits and pieces that, again, that I did not add in the first time, but how I actually do the video is it's just uncut for a whole hour of me waffling and tripping over myself. But actually looking back at the weekend, now I've had time to process it, I had an incredible time with those guys that we are looking at right now, because they were the people that I went around with, and they are all amazing individuals. We are actually looking at a brand new toy that has just been taken out of that glass cabinet. I will explain more when we actually get to the main video, but I said it once in the video, it's actually amazing to walk around and just hear everybody speak to each other in such a positive manner with regards to how amazing their cosplays looked or how amazing other little bits and pieces looked. It's just a really nice atmosphere. Now, the other thing that we do try and do is we do a Lego chase. Now, we are trying to hunt down Lego all day. Like I said, you've got an hour and a bit to come, and that, well, I wouldn't buy it, but I think they do look pretty cool. I do like the Transformers bags. I'm not looking at the shoes, but the Transformers bags do look very smart as we get in a little bit closer in a second. All of this is the stuff that was missed, so this wasn't added in on the first one. If you saw this, bought anything from here or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below, because I'd be intrigued to know how much those things were. So we're about to catch up with the original video. Now, the only difference, like I said, it's just the audio level. So hopefully you can hear me a little bit cleaner, and the actual audio behind it has been turned down a little bit. Fingers crossed. There's going to be one or two bits and pieces that I've missed, but just stick with it because it should clear itself up. But guys, again, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. To everybody that turned up at the MCM in London and made the weekend as special as it was, thank you very much. But hopefully you guys and girls will enjoy what is now to come. What a day and what a long video this is going to be, which means it's going to be done in one take, otherwise it just takes too long. So we'll get through what we can get through. It's going to be put in whatever order it's going to be put in. However, I purposely put this at the start just to prove that there was actually some Lego there. But this is what I had to look at 4 o'clock in the morning. That is Mr. J's Toy Collections UK, the legend himself, and of course the better half, Cheeky Monkey Kiara, sat beside him. Now, we are at the convention, but to get there it was easy enough. So we did a bus at just gone 4 o'clock in the morning, then it was the underground, then it was a train which we met up with Jamie with, and then we came and walked through. So it was all nice and easy, and then we got back at midnight last night. So it was a long day, but it was definitely worth it. Now, before we tuck into everything that we're having a look at currently, a massive congratulations to Jay, because what he managed to do yesterday, he managed to scoop some exclusive pre-booked interviews
with the Hasbro team. So I do believe it was Marvel and Star Wars, and he was part of the press pack, which only a handful of selected people were at the con, and Jay managed to do that. So congratulations to Jay. So check out again Jay's Toy Collection UK. That is on his channel. I'll link the channel in the description below, so you get to hear those interviews, and of course Mr. Dan Who Reviews himself. So say that again, Dan Who Reviews. Like I said, I'm doing this in one take, so I trip over. I can't keep stopping. So we are somewhere. I wasn't even looking at where we are, but this booth actually was really, really nice because it had something for everybody, and it had lots of different licenses. But a lot of the companies seem to do these blind boxes. So they were either you pay 10, 20, 50 pound for either big bags or boxes, and I guess it was just lucky dip of what you were getting. Some of these I thought looked absolutely fantastic. So if you're a SpongeBob fan, or there's a real nice G.I. Joe one there, which I don't think a lot of people realised that was there. They had, was it the Monopoly? Yep, Mr. Monopoly is there. And then I think there's a turtle one. You got a Droopy Cat. There's just one of every big name. So there's Elmo from Sesame Street, and then you've got the Cookie Monster as well. And again, that's a 50-50 split, and I do like the intestines that are on show on that one. So there was some really nice bits and pieces from here. Now, some of these videos I put together, and I've slowed it down like this, so you can see exactly what is going on. I've done that for maybe 4 or 5 of the easier things to film. Then it goes chaos, because when you're trying to walk around, you can imagine just how busy it is. So it's basically going to be what it's going to be between going to the booths, and then on our massive hunt around, when we find some Lego bits and pieces, I do then try and slow it down again. But it's just very difficult because there was literally thousands and thousands of people there. And yes, that was a Stranger Things gift set and box on the bottom shelf as well. So with regards to today, it was a fantastic day. It ran for the weekend, and I do believe it might have started on the Friday as well. So like I said in the really dodgy introduction, if you have stumbled across this completely by mistake, let us know what your favourite booth is. Let us know where you were. Let us know if you did dress up in cosplay or anything like that, because I said it once at the start, I say it again now. Every single person that dressed up looked amazing. You all did a fantastic job. I can imagine you spent a huge amount of time just getting yourself ready. Now, what I did find quite interesting, there was actually a cosplay hospital, which meant that if you had damaged your cosplay, there was people there with hot glue guns and all sorts of stitching and sewing to putting everybody's stuff together. And the queue to get things repaired was huge. But again, it is what it is with regards to where we're at, because obviously people barge into each other and things like that, all by mistake, but things will get damaged. But there was a full team there ready to fix everything. Now, there, as if you cast your mind back a couple of minutes ago where I stood above high and we saw all the people walking left and right, there is a convention on the left and a convention on the right that is basically merged. So on the one side you have this kind of thing that we're looking at now. Then on the other side, you have a lot more gaming, you have a lot more sort of, I think it's like meet and greets, and then there's a lot of other bits and pieces basically for sale on the sort of, let's say, more sort of smaller independent shops, whereas these are more big businesses. I guess that's the easiest way to describe it. I don't have a map, I didn't pick up one of the maps, but that's basically, I think, how it worked. If you want to clarify that, obviously go onto the website and you can actually get yourself a map. And if I had time and I could be bothered, I would have screenshotted a map and overlaid it now, but I'm not going to, so you're just going to have to go with it on that one. But a lot of the bigger places like this were quite easy to walk around because they obviously had a lot more space. But then others would have just been at your normal convention where it was just a table or two and they were 8 or 9 people deep. That's where it gets very, very difficult to try and get a lot of things filmed. And that is why it was actually really hard to find some of the Lego bits and pieces, because a lot of the Lego sets were behind all of the toy boxes and you couldn't really see them unless you went round the side and you asked them if you could they could grab the box for you. But they did have quite a lot of different bits and pieces there, and what I'll do is I've got some photos which I'll add right at the very, very end of this video of some really old Lego Space. They had a tram set, and also they had some old pirate sets. Now they were ranging from 150 to 550 pounds. Now what I was quite surprised with is there's obviously third-party construction sets about. There were things like that on display, but that was it. It was just the big bits. They didn't have anything like this in their cabinets where they were all made up to have a look at, which I, again, was quite surprised at. So from a construction aspect, there wasn't much unless you were willing to go rummaging on the other side, which it was a really busy side, but that's where a lot of people were dressed up in cosplay. And again, it was very, very bright and vibrant. It was amazing to walk around and see, and the smell of all the different kinds of food over there as well was really, really nice. But when it came to sort of a main platform, I really do think Lego needed to turn up. I think they would have been well received here, because the one or two stands that were selling minifigures had a tremendous queue of stuff being sold. There will be a reason why they do it and they didn't turn up. They have done it before, but they obviously just didn't do it now, I guess. Now, Chainsaw Man was new to me, but the amount of people that were, I guess it's obviously from Mega House, but Chainsaw Man, the amount of people that are dressed up in cosplay where they had the chainsaw head and the arms, every single one of them looked brilliant. And how you managed to walk around with that on your noggin without barging into anybody or getting it broken, that is a credit to your own designs. Now, there was a lot of people dressed up in all sorts of Spider-Man outfits and Spider-Gwens. They had every variation of everything. I saw one Matt Murdock, I think. So we had blind Matt Murdock in a suit, and I saw one Daredevil as well in the actual red suit. Now, you've got the round 1, round 2, and I think you've got Ready and Fight all in this little cube here. And I think this is obviously says from Tekken 8. These look really, really good. So you've got Tekken 7 and Tekken 8, and they've got the different signs that come in with those. So a lot of the bits and pieces that we're looking at now, how it works at a con, is that they will put new stuff into their booths every day of the con, or in the morning, and then in the evening. Or say morning and then afternoon. So it makes you keep going back there to see the bits and pieces. And a lot of this, you can see it's price pointed. You could buy. And some of the companies just had a QR code where you could scan it. It took you straight to their website, and you could just order it straight online. So certain stands and stalls, you could just go, I want that, and they would have it in stock. Other bits and pieces, not so much. This was the biggest booth there, I do believe, by quite a way, because there's so many different licenses, I guess, that they have. And it was really, really good to just see all these bits and pieces. Now, there is a huge Godzilla that we'll be having a look at some point as we start walking around. There was like a history of Godzilla. There was a huge dinosaur there as well. Again, it's a random thing to say. Big Jurassic Park Jeep we need to have a look at. Just imagine everything. It's just a mashup of culture of worlds that work really well. Now, Jada. So Jada Toys, this is the company that you'll find a lot of cars in our local toy shops in the UK, Smiths specifically. Now, they did do a exclusive for that Jeep, and it had sold out. So that was their sort of draw to their booth this time. They didn't have any of their action figures on display. It was just everything that we're looking at now. But they have just started a Mortal Kombat license, I do believe, and a lot of people really do like the look of those. So Jada, if you are watching this, your booth did look very, very smart. The Jeep did look really, really nice, and hopefully you'll be bringing different toys rather than vehicles along with you next time, because I think a lot of people probably would have bought them on the spot just to get into their collection, because I think there's such hype over those and they do look incredible. Now, you've got all sorts of other bits and pieces like this. So you've got all these lights, there's just bits that you could just buy. You've got the flashing t-shirt, you've got all the different masks. Now, Lego. Here we go. So we have a little bit of Lego to have a look at. Yes, there is the NASA set with the 2 exclusive minifigures that comes with it. And then we'll pan up and around. Like I said, it was just what I could do. There's a lot of, you can see Playmobil Star Wars, I think there's some Toy Story stuff. This, I think, is how we started the video, so I'm just use this again. So the Nexo Knights was the thing that caught my eye. I haven't seen one of those boxes for a long, long time. But some of the booths that we'll be going to had really, really old stuff and massive stuff as well. So you can see you've got an old Jabba up at the top, and then you're coming down, you've got all the, I think they're 3 3/4 inch cards, and then you've got massive Star Wars Lego sets. Then you have got the Rancor up at the top, and then if you look at the back, there's some very, very expensive Lego sets at the back, which I took photos of, which I'll add. Now, I do believe we're moving on to the next stand, which these statues did look brilliant. So this was fantastic. So this is the Iron statues. Sorry, Iron Studios is where this we are now. So it's 10 years they've been going, I do believe. So it says all on their artwork up on the back. So 10 years of Iron. they do look very, very good. Some of these are available for pre-order, and some of these are out now. So you can see what we've already passed. We passed some Star Wars bits and pieces. We passed some of the Robocop directly in front of us. We had Mando to the left. Then obviously you've got the Stranger Things at the back. And then as we start coming through, you will see that there's some different villains and there's some different heroes. And then up at the very top, I think the Batman from the Nightmare scene was on pre-order. And then I think this is the Venom and Carnage, which looked nuts. So I think it was a wet effect Venom, which I've never seen anything like before. And in this lighting, it did look very, very good. And that's one of the things that they did very well. All of the stands, they had incredible lighting. So there's lots of different things that you could just see, obviously. The draw, I do believe, to this stand, or stall, shall we say, I say stall, it's a massive stand, what I'm going on about, is they had a very, very good lookalike Doctor Strange. So it actually looked like it was the main actor that played him, which did look very, very smart. But hopefully you'd have seen there just how wet that Venom looked. He looked very, very good texture all over his arms and on his torso. That was a really, really nice looking figure. Now we're still on the same booth, that's the correct word. Still on the same booth as we come through, and again you're going to have different bits and pieces. So I think you've got some G.I. Joes, I think you've got some, that's Wolverine at the very, very top of the claws. Then you've got the Jurassic Park bits and pieces. Then you've got the Back to the Future. So they have a lot of licenses, and they're not badly priced either, I don't think. Some of them are ranging from 120 to say 170, and then some of the bigger ones are into the £300 marks. But don't forget, these are statues, so the differences between these and the toys is that I do believe they just come out the box and that's how you pose them. There's nothing you can do with them. They just look fantastic on your shelf. So if you are a collector of these, let us know again what ones you've got. Let me know how they work for you and where you've got them on your display, and also be interested to know how heavy they are, because obviously with them being in the glass cubes, you couldn't pick them up, you couldn't hold on to them, so it's just very much a case of you could only see what you could see. Now as we pan round in a second, one of these things is absolutely enormous. Now it's not these two, obviously, it's the thing just beside, but keep your eyes peeled because Doctor Strange will make an appearance in a second. And look at the cosplay, is a little bit further back as well. Insane the amount of detail that some of these went into. So the statue again looks mental. That's just a really, really nice looking thing, and it is massive. But keep your eyes peeled in the background. There he is. You can't tell me that does not look exactly like Doctor Strange. Every single person was queuing up to get their photo taken with him, and he was a really, really nice person to speak to. So again, as we pan around, I think we've got a little bit more to have a look at this. You can see there's lots and lots of different bits and pieces going on. The further distance, you can see you've got the official bits and pieces over there. You could pick up your maps and stuff like that and just do other little bits and pieces if you wanted to. That's a better look at the actual size of the stand from my own studio, so that's much, much easier now, because I think I came back and redid some bits and pieces. So some of the bits and pieces for certain booths that we go to, I had to be a little bit quicker because of the time of day, how popular it was at that time of day, and if by mistake I went there when it was a time for a reveal, and if that is the case and people were really hot on it, yes, that's Deadpool, then there was going to be hundreds and hundreds of people around. Or you could time it now and it's a little bit quieter, but this was coming quite far to the end of the day when I filmed this, but I've just dropped and dragged it in earlier on in the video. Like I said, it's just lucky dip. I have tried to do like a booth that we look around and then we go for a little bit of a walk and then we go back to something else and so on and so forth. If you are waiting for the Pulse, it's on its way. And I do believe we're there for a good while because we have got a lot of the HasLabs to have a look at, and there's a lot of just all the Marvel stuff and the Star Wars stuff to have a look at as well. So we have got a lot to get through. Now they were lovely because they actually let me film all of these were behind the till where they were sat. So they actually moved all the chairs, moved everything for me to climb over just to be able to do this and then jump back out again. So if there's any of these that you want, I think these are in really, really good price points, and they do look very, very smart indeed. £30 to £40, I do believe, some of them. I do like the Friday the 13th one. I think that one does look very, very good, as do, well, in all fairness, they all do. They all do look very, very smart. They're really nice scales as well, but again, see, some of them are up to the £50 mark because they do weigh quite a bit. I do like the Batman. I'm going to say I do like this. I'm going to say I do like in this video quite a lot, I think, and then we've got Skeletor for 40. So Moving on to the front of the table to the left-hand side where the knots sit, I do believe this is their new product. So this is their new bits and pieces that they've got. So they've got a lot to pick from. Again, good price point, but if you want to collect all of them, they're there available, and I think you can obviously order on their website. They did have quite a few con exclusives, which I didn't bother getting, but I think they're only £15 each, which really isn't that bad if you think of what they look like inside of them. Compared to the price of certain things that we're going to be having a look at, that is not too bad at all. I do believe if you were to pause that, you can get yourself a game, and again, that's your price point of these. And you can see what is exclusive. So the Skeletor was actually exclusive to the con, as was the really nice Batman that I saw. So I should have picked them up if I wanted them. I can't, because obviously I just end up wasting all my money on those, and then not being able to get all the Lego bits and pieces. I say wasting, it's not wasting when you buy things you like. Right, we have gone from one booth to another. So this is probably the longest bit I was stood in to film all of these. Now I'm going to go over this in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you are a massive Hasbro fan, I'm pretty sure you're going to know what these are. So HasLabs, how these things work, they'll run for 30 days or they'll run for 5 weeks, and they're basically a crowdfunder. Now a crowdfunder is where you need X amount of people to put something into production. So if you see it across the bottom where that said HasLab, that went live what would have been just over 48 hours ago from me doing this voiceover, and it's pretty much funded already, and then they unlock the next tiers. Whereas some of them, like this for example, you can just buy these. So you've just got to have a look at what they are. They'll be price point and price marked. There is a counter and a till literally to my right hand side now, and you can just go and buy a lot of these. And because this is a UK website, you can basically almost, I think, get next day delivery on a lot of these. Now another HasLab that we're going to be looking at is Giant Man. Now Giant Man got funded a couple of days before the con started, so there was a lot of happy people that this got brought down. So I do believe for the larger HasLabs, for the Marvel team, this would have been the first time you'd have had an opportunity to see a HasLab a year before it goes and you get it in your hand, because it takes a full year to then produce and then get shipped out to you. So that is basically a very basic way of how the HasLabs work, but they do look very, very good. So you've got, this was last year's, which got funded, so a lot of these I think now are already out, or they're going to be getting shipped out. That looks incredible as well. The scale of that is really, really nice. So again, if you're into those kind of things, make your way over to the Pulse website, and then obviously you can have a look at what HasLabs are currently undergoing. As I'm doing this voiceover, it's the Ghostbuster, and then I do believe there'll be a Transformer one coming soon. Now the G.I. Joe cabinet, there is a lot to look at. I do my best not to get myself in the reflection, but it's difficult. So when I pan around on the other side, you'll see it a little bit clearer. There is a lot in here. I couldn't name a single one of these. So like I said, if you go over to a toy collector's channel, they will know exactly who is who. And talking of who, again, you've got Dan Who Reviews and Jay's Toy Collection UK, along with a lot of others as well. So Mark Tac, who is filming some different bits and pieces for his channel, so don't be afraid to head over to those. I will link who I can link if I can find their channel, because everybody was here, everybody was doing this, but they were just doing specifically different bits and pieces that they collect. Whereas like I said, this is just a highlight reel of the whole con. So there's all sorts of different bits and pieces. Now if you're into this kind of stuff, Dungeons and Dragons, you had a selection of stuff. So you had the magic cards, and then again you can see Doctor Who was also very, very popular here as well, by the way. So you've got the Magic Gathering cards here, but Doctor Who had his own booth with the huge clothing and everything else, which you will sort of have a pan around later on in the video when I sort of just go AWOL and just randomly start walking around the whole convention. They were well, I say surprisingly popular. It is a very, very popular thing. It was a surprisingly big stand. It's like they really did have a very, very big booth. Now this is slightly easier. Now either do two things: look at the toys or look through the cabinet. They're the crazy bunch that I was hanging around with at the day, and look how they meet and greet each other. They had no idea who I was at this point, so they didn't know that I was actually filming, and I don't think they're going to know until they watch this back. But it's really, really nice to see that that is what the community is all about. So it's just really nice to see, and not only is that really nice to see, when I was just randomly walking around and filming the booths and just all the other bits and pieces, the amount of people that are complimenting each other on their cosplay outfit of how good they looked, and they've obviously never met each other, and it was just in passing as well. That was really, really nice to hear. Everybody was just really, really confident with each other, and it was just a really nice environment to be in. And it's not often you can say that when you're at somewhere in such a grand scale. Granted, if you don't like masks, you're going to be absolutely terrified, because some of the Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers genuinely looked like it would have done from the film. So you might have been a bit scared, but at the same time, it's a safe space, and everybody did look very, very good. So as we carry on walking around, as my throat is already starting to hurt, and I've made a schoolboy error, we're 22 minutes in, I don't have a drink beside me, so I'm just going to do this, like I said, completely raw. You got a lot of the Transformers, different bits and pieces. Now, this is one of the cabinets that did change ever so slightly. At this booth, they did actually have, almost just to the left-hand side there, you can see it. That is where they basically rotated their stock around. So when new bits and pieces got revealed throughout the day, that is where you went to. That is where you got all your photos and tried to get all your reels and everything made up, to get it made up very, very quickly. And they were doing that throughout the day, and then they would have an empty cabinet, and it would say come back in the afternoon, and then it would be full of just new stuff that is going to be then available to pre-order within almost 7 days. So it's a very, very different business model from a Lego perspective, because obviously a Lego perspective, we know when it's coming out, and then we've got like 18 months until we can buy it. Whereas some of these would have already been sold out, and that's it. You won't be able to get that artwork again in that color with that toy in it. So it is a completely different world, what I was walking around compared to what I'm used to. And to be honest, I absolutely loved every single second. Now, I think what we're going to be doing is, once we've had a look at the Transformers, I think on the other side is where there is a lot of the Star Wars stuff. So I think we'll have a look at the Star Wars. There's the big ghost that we need to have a look at, which is available in a Lego set, which I'm very, very tempted to pick up, which, funny enough, is this. So that was completely by mistake. We have a short look at this, and then we'll clip back to it, because obviously you can imagine this is very, very busy. This was a HasLab. So again, with the HasLab, this is something that you cannot buy. You have to back it, and then if it backs, you then pay for it, and then it's yours. So the second-hand market on some of these things are eye-watering. Whereas the N1, which I do believe eyeballing that is almost exactly the same scale as the Lego model, was available to buy on the day from the counter. Now this is in the 1,000+ range, and it transforms into, well, from a dino into something else, and then transform back, and it dances. I thought I'd film that, and it finished its routine, and then it just stood there. So I just cut that short. This, again, another look round of what we're looking at, and I think we'll have a look at the top as well. So this was Lucky Dip, because I just put my arms straight and just hope for the best. Look at the size of the internals of that. So if Lego do a UCS version, that is probably more than likely what we're going to be expecting, to be honest. It's going to be a bit like what the Big Falcon was, or is, should I say, what it still currently is, just because of being able to put all the figures in there and all those kind of things. Now, Indiana Jones. If you are a fan of the Indiana Jones, there is a lot of figures for you to collect, and they do look very, very good all together, I think. Now, Lego has released 3, maybe 4 sets, and I do believe they're not going to be releasing anything in 2024. So I don't know if they're going to be doing anything in 25. I'd like to think they might, but I, to be honest, don't think they will do. But having a look at all of these on display, you've got all the different indies, all the different heroes, all the different villains. They look fantastic. And obviously you've got Sean Connery there, which looking rather good. And for Jay's sake, Melty Face, say that one more time, Melty Face, there we go, is in the cabinet somewhere. So if you can spot him, let me know. Now, Star Wars, the Black Series, lots of different things to have a look at. You can see how they pose really, really nicely. And we'll just have a slow pan down. Apparently next year is going to be a big year for Star Wars with regards to the prequels. There's going to be a lot of different anniversary sets coming out. So knowing that, again, I would imagine Lego will go in situ, and they will do stuff parallel to that with regards to different vehicles coming back out again, and different minifigures that we would not have seen for a good while. So it'd be nice to see all of those sets coming out, and obviously all of these being revealed at the start of 2024 and further afield, because it's obviously always nice to see new bits and pieces. So if you are a Star Wars collector, you were very, very spoiled for choice, because you had the opportunity to see the Ghost, opportunity to see the Razor Quest, and then you had 2 full cabinets of really nice display bits and pieces. And again, how these are displayed in their glass cabinets, they look very, very good, I think. I think they do look very, very smart indeed. Now, this is moving on to the cabinet onto the other side. So you can see Jabba up at the top. Now, if you were eagle-eyed, you would have seen the older, much, much older version at the very, very start of the video. So in the same place, you had a new one that is yet to be released, and then you had a really, really old one going in second hand. And I think the second hand old one was more money than what you can get a brand new one for. So that is something that you've got to be careful within the toy collecting game, which is something you don't really get again in the Lego game as such. So as we come down shelf by shelf by shelf, you can see you've got all the different card backs, and you've got the different boxes, and you've got the diorama pieces that you can make up. You've got the multi boxes, so you can obviously army build and all that kind of thing. And then coming down, I think you've got different vehicles and things. So there's something for everybody for your collection. And if you're wondering why they look the same but smaller, it's because in this industry they have different scaled bits and pieces as well. So they're all different scaled. I think it's 3 3/4 and 6 inches. That what we've been having a look at, and there's different series for different things. You can see you've got the Christmas series at the bottom left, and then you've got all these cool things. Now the big sort of helmets. These were selling very, very well. Lots of people walking around with these. These did look very, very smart, to be honest. And seeing these in the cabinet, didn't realize actually how big they were. Because obviously they are available, so you just put your head through, and that's obviously what they're designed for. But I think they did look very, very smart in that. Right, his tank. This is apparently, well, I say apparently, I know it is. It's going to be coming out very, very soon. Now, this was the HasLab that got backed very, very quickly. But I think everybody is surprised just by how chunky and girthy this thing is. It's obviously a tank, and it properly looks like one in this cabinet, and it's a big cabinet as well. It looked big in here because those figures are between 6 to 7 inches in height with regards to having stuff over the head and holding on to stuff. So if you want to get your tape measure out and just start figuring out exactly how much space that is going to take up on your display shelf, I look forward to finding out how all of you are going to display yours differently, because obviously I can imagine people will now want to be making space for that before it gets delivered. The actual date of that, I'm not 100% sure on, but I know it's coming sooner rather than later. Now, moving on to the Marvel Legends. These things did look very, very good with this lighting in the display. Now, there was new reveals. They added in new ones into a different cabinet, which did look very, very smart. If your favorite character is in here, or you've got any of these, again, let us know. Let us know what you think. I have a lot of these in minifigure form, but not as many as what we are looking at now with regards to the depth of being able to complete full teams. We only have that opportunity if we get the CMFs, so as we have currently got going with some of the Marvel characters. So could potentially complete certain teams. The big thing in the back left-hand corner, that has been released in Lego form. If you want to try and hunt that one down, it does come with the nice car for the Detroit Steel, I do believe that is called, and that is what the set is as well. After seeing that, I'm now very, very tempted to try and hunt that one down and add that into my own display, especially for the theme parks. I think that might work quite well. So you've got the bottom shelf on here, then we've got another one to have a look at. I think probably my favorite one of all of them was the Spider-Man and Daredevil, because he holds the brick when he catches it in the film. That is how they had that posed. Then you've got the Cosmo Dog, and then you've got Miles Morales. You've got all the Spider-Man on the car back, which does look really, really smart. And then there's obviously Spider-Punk and all the others that are in all of the different films that you got going on there. They look really, really good. I'm glad, actually, that the reflections aren't too bad. That was one thing I was worried about, is me being in the way, but I managed to do it in a way where I'm stood to the one side or the other. So it was quite difficult to film, but at the same time, it was fine. So there he is. That's the one I really like, Matt Murdock. And he's just caught the brick, which I think works rather well, because obviously that is the famous table scene, and that is his first introduction into the actual Marvel universe from Netflix. So I do like that, and I'm a big fan of that figure. It would be nice maybe if Lego did him potentially in the future in his new Daredevil suit and civilian outfit as well. I think they would look really, really nice. Coming down, all the X-Men 97, that is something that, again, that we've just started to get in Lego forms. We've got our mechs that have come through, and there's some other little bits and pieces that will be coming out as well. So if you are an X-Men fan, I think that's going to be a good one for you with regards to what is coming out now in the toy side of things. And then obviously what we have got is a large amount of sets coming out in Lego, I reckon. As soon as they play catch up with regards to obviously the writer strikes and everything, I think we'll be in for a nice surprise of the amount of stuff that we're going to be getting. And I think some of those sets might be quite large as well. So this is the new cabinet. The pizza box I really like. The Transformers was a new announcement. All of these different bits and pieces were a relatively new announcement. And then I think at the very, very end of the Pulse bit, I add in that box again, and it's completely changed with all the new different bits and pieces from G.I. Joe and Marvel. So that's how much they rotate it around, and that's how quickly they rotate it around as well. So we're now having another look at some of the Transformers, just a little bit better because there's some of these that I did miss or just went past these a little bit too quickly. We will not be here for too much longer, and then we will be moving on to one or two more large areas, and then, like I said, it will just get chaos and carnage for another 20 minutes or so as we really start to hunt down all of the other Lego sets that they've got. Now, again, with the Transformers, you've got all the different lines. Now, I could go into, actually, honestly, go into in-depth detail of what we are looking at, but out of spite, I am not going to. All I'm going to say is that there are different ones in different lines, and if you want to collect one which will cover every single line, 2024 is your year. So that is all you need to know. So if you're a Transformers fan, 2024 is going to be a very, very good year for you with regards to having a full array of stuff. So the artwork for the Transformers does look very, very smart. Now, I've actually managed to get a look at the HasLabs out the boxes, because this is all one thing. So like I said, this, as of me doing the voiceover, is available to back. But if you're watching this in the future, it might already be out and you might not be able to get your hands on it. So you've got to be quick when it comes to HasLabs. Now, those things looked fantastic. I know I'm getting my words twisted, but I refuse to stop this video to grab a drink to then carry on. We will be having a look at the massive figure soon. That came out the cabinet, and that was really, really nice to see, because there was a lot of excited people that had backed that were really looking forward to that coming out in the actual cabinet. Back to the Transformers, different ones with regards to the original movie. Then they've got the current movies. They've got Bumblebee, you've got the United line, you've got the Legacy line, you've got all sorts of different bits and pieces going on. Sure, we've already looked at this, so why this is already back in there, I'm not too sure. Maybe it's because I think it's later on in the day and they would have changed one or two bits and pieces over. But that is Transformers, so there we go, that is that. Now, this is really nice to see, and I did this on purpose, because every single person that you're looking at now, apart from the one that is fondling the absolutely huge giant man, is all part of the crew that I was hanging around with, and they were all lovely. It was really nice to speak to everybody, and you can see how happy everybody is for this. This thing looks outstanding. So if you have backed one of those, well done, because the texture on that and how well it looked and how nice it looks, I'm jealous. I was going to get one. I didn't, because the Avenger Tower has just been announced. Am I going to regret it? Possibly, but then I get to live my enjoyment out through everybody. Right, now we've got Comic and Cocktails, which is a massive UK retailer. This thing is huge. This holds 5 7-inch figures in, and the price of this thing, it was $4.99, 20% off down to $400. It is available on the Comic and Cocktails website as well, or you could take it away with you at the con. They have, obviously, it's a lot of stuff for sale, but it's different bits, even though it's bizarre. So you have got, again, lots of different Spider-Man, lots of different X-Men bits and pieces. This is just a retail shop, so they will have older stock that isn't available in other places. And say, for example, with Pulse, you can go on the Pulse website as well and order a lot of different bits and pieces. But when it's gone from there, it's gone. And it's the same thing with Comic and Cocktails. Whereas Lego, it's just Lego. And then obviously you know where else you can get those bits and pieces from, where it's completely different in the toy game, because you need to know where to go. Now, talking about needing to know where to go, we won't be long until I have no idea where we're walking around. There's food halls either side. And like I said, we will have a quick look at the gaming side of things. That was quarter to half of the whole room, because you could literally walk around. There was board games to be played, card games to be played. There was then gaming consoles where you could queue up and get like 20 minutes or half an hour on a brand new early access game. So there was loads of people queuing up for that. You will find that there's 2 double-decker buses to game on, as well as loads of tables and chairs of just TVs and everything all set up on the one side. Then there's like a little haunted section where there's huge models that we'll be having a look at, and people were telling stories of bits and pieces, which I didn't have time to sit down and listen to, but some of them were very, very popular, and a lot of people that are dressed in the cosplay were sat down listening to them as well. So I don't know who was there, but there was a lot of meet and greet going on. Now, the other thing that I think a lot of people might like, if you're a Pokemon fan, the gentleman that sang the original theme tune did a live performance. So if you managed to be at the meet and greet for that bit at that point of time of day, you would have heard the Pokemon theme tune sung live, which I think a lot of people know how that goes, and I think you probably would have been humming it for the rest of the day. I was for a good amount of time, and hopefully you are now, and you've got that theme tune stuck in your head. But what we're looking at now, you've got Dungeons & Dragons, you've got Power Rangers, you've got Indiana Jones. As we spin around, you're going to have a lot of Hot Toys to have a look at, which is the really, really expensive high-end, almost UCS price point. In fact, some of them are UCS price point if you're comparing that to the Lego sets. So again, you've got a lot of different lines with here. So a lot of this stuff that we're looking at now will be the first time that we've seen this today, because other places don't sell it. Every toy store has their own exclusive stuff that they can sell as well. So it's just depending on who brought what to what their booth and what they've got available, because some of these, when we went back towards the end of the day, there were some very, very empty pegs, and they were filling it back up with different stock, because like I said, when it's gone, it could be gone, but you can make your way over to the Comic and Cocktails website and just see exactly what is still available. And if there's anything that you're looking at now going, oh, I need that, get over to the website, because probably by end of this weekend of me doing this voiceover, some of this might be it might be gone, and it might be new pre-orders for other little bits and pieces. Like I said, I'm still trying to get my head around the process, because it's a lot easier, I think, when it comes to the Lego side of stuff. But again, it's all clearly marked. You've got price points, you've got price marked with regards to being able to buy this, and everything that we're looking at, because obviously it's not in a glass display, it's very much a case of take off, take to the till, take home. This did not stay on the shelf. Everything that you're looking at now was all the stock that was available to buy, whereas the difference with the booth that we're looking at before, all the stuff that was in a glass cabinet, some of it was either pre-order, like the HasLabs was a backing, then you had some pre-order bits and pieces, you had some crowdfunding pieces, and then there was stuff behind the till that you could then buy, but you couldn't take anything away from the booth. And even this really expensive project stuff that we're looking at now, they were just a case of grab and take to wherever you needed to, which I think was directly behind me. I think I'm stood right behind, because where the Batman bits were that we're looking at, that is where the till was. Right, now it's going to get crazy, and it's going to be quick. So I think that's the last of the main big booth that I managed to slow down for us to have a look at. Now it's a case of I need to keep up, and my throat is killing me, and you guys and girls are going to have to keep up. So this is the horror bit, where I thought it was really nice, because you could sit down on all the beanbags and all the bits and pieces there, and there's a stage. Now, sometimes on the stage, there was just music being played, and it was just different theme tunes from either different games, or I do believe different movies as well, which was quite a cool thing. And you had the tables there for like a meet and greet as well. Now, I wasn't lying about a double-decker bus. Well, in fact, two of them. You had the new Final Fantasy, and you had some other bits and pieces. I wasn't lying about this massive T-Rex either. This thing was enormous, and so many people were getting there taking photo of it, because obviously this was for their 30th anniversary from the original film, I do believe. Doctor Who, like I said, there was a big Doctor Who booth there. I think that'll be added in a little while. And then you've just got mixes of everything. So certain places that I went to, so you've got the Chucky dolls. Look at the top, because you do have a Mickey Mouse set up at the top. So you've got Steamboat Willie above all of the comics and games, and you've got the tumbler directly in front of us. If you look through or have to pause it, there was actually quite a bit of Lego on that stand, and it was really difficult to get to. And there was a lot of minifigures on the one side. Now, coming down on this side, again, you've got Star Wars ATST mixed in with all of these bits and pieces. It's a very fun game that we're going to be playing now, because it's really hard to see. Now, if you're a Funko Pops fan, you could have had any Funko Pop you wanted anywhere. There was so many people selling these, but I think this must have had almost every single one. So if you're missing one, you definitely could have got these at the convention for sure, because it just, look at it, it just pans all the way around. Now there's more Jurassic Park bits and pieces. These are all games, so I am now stood right where people are playing these board games. Like behind me, there's all these different tables and chairs where you could go, and then you've got this big stand and store where you can just buy these things from. Forbidden Planet were there, they had a couple of toys, and obviously they had all of their comics and loads of books. It was just a full mix. So I just stood right by the toy bit because I couldn't actually get into their stand because it was so busy. But I think we'll have a quick pan round. You can just see just the volume of people that are in there just getting out books. So that was another thing that they had over here. They had loads of meet and greet bits for signing. So there's another sort of almost like a makeshift stage. They were dotted all over the conventions. I'm on the other side now, by the way. I know this is very difficult to keep up, but you can see just by the ceiling height how big this thing is. There's 2 of these. There's 3 or 4 different places that you can go for listening to different bits and pieces or hearing about stuff. And then you've got a huge area where people were queuing up to meet different actors for things to be signed, which was again a really nice thing. Right, Ferrari up at the top. You've got the car, you've got the Ghostbuster one. This is a bit easier. You've got the big Star Wars set. You've got a massive Bugatti. I'm only picking up the Lego stuff. The Lego Cyan. You've got the other Ferrari down at the bottom. There was some minifigures down there. You've then got some busts. You have got some Ninjago bits and pieces. That is the Lego Movie set, for the Lego Movie Batman set, which I do believe we'll have a quick, better look at in a second. You've got the big tumbler. You've got People Pack at the top. You've got other... In fact, this is the stand where it has loads and loads of Lego Batman movie sets. So you can see what you're looking at in front of you. That's easy. At the far back, you can see the yellow boxes that are on their side. They had the tumbler. They had the Batwing. They also had the cave. And they had 2 others as well. They were very tempting for me to go back and have a look. I didn't go back and have a look, so I didn't go back home with anything. I bought nothing. The only money I spent was on a Oreo brownie and a Monster. That is the amount of the extent of my money went. And then in the evening, I got the world's most expensive glass bottle Coke from a hotel. But that was a really nice way to finish the day. But if you are still eyeballing all of this, look at how old these Star Wars sets are. We're in a completely different booth now. So these were quite close together, but they aren't the same stand. This is a completely different seller. Really much older Star Wars sets, and a lot of Toy Story Lego was available there as well. So some sets that I hadn't really seen before. Some of other people were selling polybags, really good value polybags, like £5 for an old polybag, and a little bit more expensive. It had 2 minifigures in, and then there was like a minifigure area where you could just buy minifigures from sets, and then there were some custom horror ones as well. Now, as we come through and start looking around, I think what we will end up hunting down, because we're walking past the big Funko Pop bit, is I think there is a custom Star Wars lightsaber sets for sale. So that is what we have to hunt down, because a lot of the people that I was with were telling me all about it, and I spent ages and ages trying to find it, and we do. So that is one of the next things that are to come. Then I think there's something else, and then I've got to add in all the photos. But I think we've got about 15 minutes left, I think. Now, for some reason, my video normally counts down, and it's actually counting up. So in case there's less than that, I'm going to get it in now. If you've stuck with me this point, thank you. And if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, then that'd be absolutely fantastic, because obviously it helps with the algorithm and everything else. And if you have been here, or you are a vendor, you are a buyer, you are in your cosplay, again, as he says it, there's a fantastic cosplay everywhere. Let us know. Let us know just how your day went, and if you will go to the next one. Was this your first one? Have you been to these before? This was my first convention for this kind of thing, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. Now, again, if you are really into your just comics in general, you can see who they are to the left-hand side, and then you've got all of these bigger prints to the right-hand side. There is something for everybody everywhere. So wherever you went, there was just something that was slightly different or completely different, and the floor got very well used, because there was a lot of people with sore feet, I think, that ended up sitting down. I saw 1 or 2 people taking a nap against the wall. Now, we are in the middle of the convention. Now, this was the bit that I filmed at the very start. I told you, you've got to walk from one side to the other, and this is how you do it. You walk on your legs, and you just walk to the other side, and then you're back in somewhere completely different. Yes, there are a lot of Power Rangers all dressed up. They all look fantastic. Everybody was taking their photo. They were all grouped together. I'm assuming that they were a group rather than all individuals that they just met up completely by fluke. There was a load of Mario and Luigi characters there. So we're walking back, you know where we are now, because we're walking back to the pulse bit. So this is like the main bit in, and it goes really far back. So if I'm just doing this from a roofing guide, you keep going back. There's a lot of stuff behind the pulse, and there's a big sort of convention centre inside the convention centre as well, where you can sit down and listen to people talk and speak. So we are picking up the pace a little bit. So again, you can just see the volume of people. So this is where it's going to start getting a little bit crazy, because we are now just going to go for a walk. So there's a lot to see. You're going to have to pause it because it's difficult, and I don't stop, and I walk quite quick because I just wanted to get everything in. So we're just recapping some of the different bits and pieces, and it's just going to be interesting to see how well this comes out, because if you're not a people person, it gets tight in places. And then, like I said, depending on where you go, at what time you go, it is absolutely fine. Whereas other parts of the day, it would have been ramsacked. So you saw that the pulse didn't look that busy, where when I do a full loop and come back, there was people all over the place. And you saw how busy it was when we were there to start with. But you've got all sorts of things you can buy, and I'm just trying to show off just how many things are here with regards to what is available to buy and the differences of things that you can buy, because like I said, there is something for everybody at different price points. There's such a nice mix of people here that all get on with each other. It is lovely. I just wish Lego was there. I don't know why they weren't. Maybe they just don't think it's their thing anymore, because overall, like, the size of this con overall probably would have been maybe at a push 15 to 15% toys. Everything else was completely different bits and pieces. So we're now walking down like an arts and craft type area. There was actually some really skilled artists doing stuff live. So they were just doing it there. Then you could just buy it if you wanted to. They were getting them out really quickly. There's lots of other things that you could get printed. You had all your t-shirts that you can buy. Again, like I said, there's just something for everybody. You know what I was on the hunt for. So when we find it, we slow down. If they don't have what I want, we keep going. But at least you can see all of the different stuff that you've got. And they even had Pokemon card stands where you could buy new and sealed packs, or you could trade cards there. Cards were a massive thing, because obviously you got Magic the Gathering cards. Pokemon was another big thing. With regards to just doing that sort of trading. And you can see just some of these cosplays that were walking past. They look insane. Now, up at the top, they had like a little play area, and you had like tables and chairs. You can sit down and have a coffee as well. So there was something for like the little ones to do as well. And you can see now we are actually finally, we've hit the top. So don't forget, we are still in the pulse bit, which is now nowhere near where we are, and we've come all the way up. So if you just imagine this is one huge supermarket, you have to go down every single aisle if you want to. Just keep snaking all the way down and all the way back up to see everything. Now, this was a really interesting bit, because they had axe throwing. You had the foam axes, and then you had in-cage axes where you actually properly threw them into the wood. And then further on, all the carpet and everything at this end, the reason why it's so spacious now, is all the way around the outside of the walls. It was photo opportunities, meet and greets, and signings. And this was how much space all of that took up. And every time I came down this way, it was really busy of people like this, just queuing up, waiting to see people from different TV shows, films. Look at everybody. They are all waiting to meet different people, and it was just amazing to see, because the rotation of stands down that way was massive. They were just getting more and more people coming in to sign stuff, so there's more and more people coming down there all the time. And it's just really nice to see, and just how happy everybody is as well. But you can see, finally got to the end. There's all your autographs, so that's all your signings. I think to the other side, your right hand side, that's all your photos. So I know with the photos, you had to book a slot. I don't know how it worked with the signings, but you had to do that with that. Now, these, again, all sorts of different bits and pieces in from Japan as well. You can see all the boxes in the middle. These these people that obviously have to unbox everything and have to pack everything away of the stuff that they don't sell, because there's no warehouse, don't forget, there's no like stock room. So it's very much a case of they just bring everything in, stockpile multiple ones of them, have a few spares, maybe hidden under the table, and then when they've gone, they've gone. But you can see that, again, I now know who that chainsaw bloke is after seeing him around the con all the time. So Chainsaw Man with his chainsaw face and arms. I think I must have seen maybe 5 different cosplays of those, because I think they must wear different outfits. Now, Dragon Ball Z was another big thing here. Loads of people dressed up in all of those outfits as well. So we are basically just having a look at stuff. Now, this was a interesting thing. I'm not too sure if you could, but it says collect your order. So I don't know if you could go here, get some bits and pieces, and then you could pick it up from here at the end of the day. Because you can see how it works on 1, 2, 3. But I don't know if you got it from their website, or they were a bit like how you have your luggage at an airport, where you can just leave it there and then get it at the end of the day. But there was a casualty. That decapitation is not from Boba Fett. You can see the head on the floor. Somebody has knocked the cabinet and broken one. Godzilla, moving on. So Godzilla, there he is. I told you he's there. Big old thing. And you've got the 70 years of history in the far distance. And then we are now behind Tekken 8, between Doctor Who. The huge Jurassic Park T-Rex is on the right-hand side. Jada Toys isn't too far away from there either. Then here we are. So I told you we would get it. That's the size of the Doctor Who. And packed all day from first thing in the morning. They were right by one of the shutters though, don't forget. So this is like the first thing that you see. There was Daleks moving around as well at the very, very beginning. So there was all of those walking in those big walkways. So the bit that we crossed over, there's Daleks and all sorts of Doctor Who characters there. This is also where you can get your photo taken from the actual main sort of Comic-Con sign. So obviously we've obviously seen some of these, which again is really, really nice to see. But because I came in this was the first door that I went through. That's why it was so quiet. And now, because of the time of day, everybody's made their way down. They've come in. They've obviously just got to this bit, and then it bottlenecks up because everybody wants to see everything, and you just need time, or you need patience, or if you are struggling for time, go to the thing that you want to see first. Spend as much time as you need there so you're not rushed, and then just have a wander like I am now. Because it could be, like we saw on those tables, you could spend a huge amount of time just waiting to get some different bits and pieces, because like I said, some of those tables were 6, 8, 10 people deep, and you did have to wait a little bit to get to the Lego. Like I did, I had to wait a little while, but it is what it is. It's a massive convention, and you're just there to enjoy yourself. Now I know, I can imagine a lot of people would have done 2 days. I'm sure we will do 2 days next time, especially if Jay's Toy Collection UK ends up having to do more interviews and can speak to more people, because your day's gone from just doing that. So I don't think Jay and half of the Dan Who crew, God, I'm getting my words mixed up so badly, half of the crew from Dan Who didn't see all of this, so they might be seeing this for the first time, or they might have missed different bits and pieces just because of how long you need to spend in different areas. But it is what it is. Now I know, looking at that time and where we are now, we really are starting to run out of time now, so there's not too much longer left. I think we've got less than 10 minutes to go. We will finish outside with everybody walking through, and then like I said, what I'll do is I will end the video, say goodbye, and then I will add in the photos at the end. So it'll come up with the end screen, then the end screen will disappear, and then it will go into the photos. So if you don't click on the end screen video, then you'll get to see the photos. If you're bored of it and you don't want to see it, and you want to click on the end screen to take you to the next video, then you can do so. I do like that teddy. I'm a big fan of that. I would think that would look quite cool in the back of my truck as I'm driving around, to be honest. I think that's a really smart looking thing, that one. Right, again, you can see to the left hand side, that is a different booth with those heads. And now we are in a completely different place. Yes, that was the Joker, and that was Wonder Woman. Yes, that is a Pokemon character, and you would think there's a couple of wrestlers that were walking around as well. Resident Evil was quite a popular one. I'm trying to think, as we're walking around, what were quite popular. I think a lot of them were Dragon Ball Z. Some of them I didn't recognise, because I didn't recognise all of the cosplay movies and films and things. which I probably need to look into and do a little bit more research before I come next time. But I think, like I said, I've said it so many times now, everybody did look really, really smart. So we can't be too far away from me finding these lightsabers. This was all I wanted to do. I just went from one side to another, trying to find these Lego build lightsabers, because they're custom instructions, custom packs. You get your own different handle, and then obviously you can add whatever kind of blade that you want to yourself, and they look really, really effective. And I want to see what they were like, so we spent a good amount of time looking at everything. Now, the amount of amazing makeup that was on everybody, I feel sorry if everybody was all going back to the same hotel, because their plumbing and their pipes are just going to be full of fake paint, fake blood, fake everything, because there was so many orange and green and purple, like full skin paint. So that would have taken forever to get off in the shower. So you guys and girls have much more patience than I do, because like I said, I think it would have taken you a long, long time to get ready for this, but it was definitely appreciated and it was definitely worth it. So again, we've had a quick look at these comics already, but I think I just want to have a look at some of these bits and pieces that we missed, just so you can see. And I think there's some more stuff on the sides that I try and get as we go back through. But it was just to see, oh, it's these bits. So you can see that there's just other little bits and pieces all hidden within, but there was no Lego in that one. Now, the file is about to change, so I can't imagine now we are too far away, but it is starting to annoy me a little bit that it's counting up and not counting down. So I don't know how long we actually have left, which isn't the most ideal thing. But how sore my throat is, I would imagine we are coming right to the end, or very, very close to, because the second we've seen the lightsabers, we're basically done and done. But yes, look at all the cosplay for all the different Spider-Gwens. Lots and lots of Mandalorian cosplays as well. They look brilliant. There was some really good Batman. I saw the old school Batman, the Batman, and a couple of the others as well. Different stand for these, so you've got all of these Funko Pops dotted about. So there, I do like those with all the flashy lights. You could have easily completed your collection on those if you wanted to. And we're walking down somewhere that we've not yet walked down, because I am doing my best to find this booth, which I did not know where it was, and I came across, completely by mistake, all the minifigures. So I think we're really, really close to the minifigures that are behind me. So I will walk over there and we'll have a really quick look at some of those. And then there's another booth that I had to take all the photos of, because I would have had to have zoomed in fully on my other camera just to be able to see the boxes, because they were just so far back. And this camera, obviously, it's fantastic to move around. It works well in low light, but I can't zoom in. So here they are. So I've just done a big circle. All the minifigures there. Look how... There was so many people here buying minifigures. That's why I think if somebody had a Lego stand, it would work really, really well, because they were spitting minifigures out all the time. People were just buying them up. And here we go. The lightsabers are here. So this is what I spent, I reckon, a good 2 hours trying to find this, because I went all the way up and down, and I keep missing where this one was. So this is, I think that's a Demon Buster Bricks. Pause it, go back to it. I can't change it. And it looked really, really smart. They had some really nice things. You can obviously see you've got all the different minifigures that they've got up in there. Good price points as well. They were their own custom minifigures, so they were just made up. And you've got the Pokeball, which obviously they sell very, very well, especially in this con. And then you've got all of the different swords, you've got all the different blasters and all the different guns. And then there was somebody selling the older video. You've got the CMF minifigures, and they were the original Disney series. You can see the Batman movie was extremely popular. You've got some superhero stuff. You've got the Joker lowrider car there. You've got some of the Star Wars bits and pieces. And then up at the top, you've got some of the older Ninjago and the superhero section as well. And guys, I really am starting to run out of time. So that's it. That's how we're actually finishing it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some photos. I'll add in some other random bits and pieces now, so I can actually wrap this video up. So guys, a very abrupt ending, but if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.